So this afternoon, we have John Cooper from Skillet on the show, and we're looking forward to seeing them hopefully this fall, to the Louder Than Life Festival. But they've actually been pretty busy lately here. John, welcome to the show.
What is up? It's good to be here, man.
Very welcome. Very happy to have you on. Things are starting to open up right now around the country, and honestly, it seems like from day to day it's getting a little bit better, which is awesome. You guys have been busy for a little while, though. You've got some drive-in shows going on. You're kind of in the middle of that right now. Give us a little bit of insight what that's been all about.
Yeah, I think that just like you said, everybody's kind of been trying to put your toe in the water, Put your toe in the water. Is it going to open? Is it not? We did these drive-in gigs, and, it's better than nothing because people are tired of being isolated, and people want to do something, want to, have some fun. So the drive-in shows were cool because we got to see people, and there was this genuine, just excitement. I mean, I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but almost celebration. People were very celebratory, and I kept getting these social media messages. After the first show, I saw this, and I thought it was an interesting take, and then we noticed it for the next 25 days. We're basically versions of people saying, I had no idea how much I needed this show. And I thought that was kind of interesting because I think, we just tend to kind of go through life, and you got to do what you got to do. No reason to complain about it. You got to go through the hard stuff, and you make it work. And then all of a sudden people come back to a concert, and they're like, oh, my gosh, I had no idea how much I needed this. So, it's great to see the fans. It's great to see people happy for a night, to be honest. And I'm just glad to be out, playing some shows again. And it looks like we're headed towards normal rock shows, which I love.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I caught a show last week. It was the first touring act that I've seen in a year and a half, and it was a seated, tabled event at a place that's normally a banquet facility. And I'll tell you what, didn't matter. Artist came out, and it was Tim Reynolds plays with Dave Matthews a lot, does a lot of his own solo stuff, was phenomenal. And like that hair stood up on my arms. Everybody started screaming, and it felt like a regular show, even though it was a bit different.
Well, yeah, I think that from a, philosophical point of view or a religious point of view, depending on who you are and where you come from, it just shows you the power of community, how much human beings are not meant to be alone, and we're not meant to be isolated. We actually do need each other. And that again, that's not a trite perspective. That's just a true philosophical perspective. And you don't notice it until it's gone. And then you start noticing, being with people, there's no substitute for that. You can do Zoom calls, and you can do Zoom concerts and FaceTime your family, but it's not the same as when you're with people, and I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, and I love to think that that's something that I feel like I never took that for granted because it's something I've enjoyed immensely my entire life. But man, it's almost like a reboot now. It's like Life version 2.0, where we get to go back out and say this is what I missed, and really take
yeah.
these things in.
I hear you.
That's cool. So you guys have a lot going on ahead too. You've got a few festival dates. I saw you were just added to. You've probably known about it for longer than we have. The Blue Ridge Rock Festival, and then I mentioned Louder Than Life, where I'm hoping to catch you this fall as well. So, being that you've been able to bring this live experience and interact with fans and kind of see how that resonates. The thought of something massive where tens of thousands of people are planning to gather in just a few short months. How does that feel?
Well, it's so exciting. Louder Than Life, which I just think that's like the awesomest name for a festival. Louder Than Life. I don't know why. I just like that name a lot. Anyway, it feels great going back to do an actual, 5, 10, 15,000 people. And people are just really ready for that. They're excited. We got a lot of festivals coming up. We also got new music coming out. And so I think that's been a cool thing, fingers crossed, but I think Skillet is going to release like a post-pandemic, let's call it this. It's the post-pandemic album that rock fans need.
Okay.
I'm telling you, the album makes you feel like you're ready to take on the world with nothing but a slingshot. To go for it, and that's how I feel. I'm like, you know what? Whatever comes, I'm ready for it. Nothing's going to stop it. Let's go. And so there's that sort of energy. So we're releasing new music, and I hope that we'll be able to play a new tune at the festival as well. You got to get people pumped up about new music.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Do you have a firm release plans yet? Do you have a date?
We have a radio release date in September.
Okay.
And that's when the single will come out. And we're still tentative on the album release because everybody's releasing records, and so you're trying to finagle it in.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's cool, and that's something that I'll certainly look forward to hearing more info on as it's available. So I would kind of segueing into the next piece, which is sort of looking ahead here. I've got to imagine that with that upcoming release, I'd think after being off the road for so long, you guys are probably itching and working on tacking a brand new tour in support of that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're working on the tour dates now, and in fact, I believe they're actually booked. They haven't been announced, but they're probably finishing up and finishing up the package, like who else is on it. But yeah, headline run, and hopefully we'll be supporting that new record, during that time as well. So yeah, it's very much like guns blazing coming out, and I assume that that'll be the case for lots of artists. But I think that we've been kind of lucky in that we were inspired during the pandemic. I think that some people have felt uninspired during the pandemic, and for me, it kind of fueled my rage. That might be that might be the key. It kind of fueled me. I'm like, you know what? I don't know why. It just kind of fueled me, and maybe the songs sound a little more aggressive. I have no idea, but I'm excited about it.
That's awesome. Well, I can't wait to get a taste of it, John. That sounds great. You guys bring such an incredible live presence to the stage. So, new music, hopefully we can hear a track in the fall. If not, I'm not going to say it doesn't make a difference, because that'd be great. But I love your show. It's just nonstop from the time you guys hit the stage until you're done. So that's going to be exciting.
Thank you. That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, so a little bit kind of into the comic world as well. This isn't brand new, but just it's something that's still out there, something you guys have been doing. You've put out kind of a series of graphic novels there, right? And you tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a funny world. People that love comics love comics. It's sort of, there's not a lot of people in the middle. You either love comics or you don't get why people love comics. And I grew up just loving comic books and the artwork and the characters, and I always had kind of, it's on my bucket list to one day do a Skillet comic book. Probably because, when I was a kid, you had Kiss. Kiss had comics, and they had Kiss dolls when I was a kid. I mean, it was just larger than life, and I always was kind of in the back of my mind thinking that'd be kind of cool to do. And it's kind of a good rule of mine. The more you can be like Kiss, the better. That's basically a rule to live by as a rock star. So we made this graphic novel. It's called Eden, and then we made the follow-up, which is Eden 2. And it's just a really exciting book. The artwork is fantastic. I did not draw it, so I don't mean that I drew it, but I did write the story. I should say I co-wrote the story. And it's just cool because you get a different side of to express your art. I have lots of other things I enjoy, like writing, and I imagine myself in an alternate universe as an author, as somebody that sits around writing science fiction novels and things like that. And it's a little bit of my nerdy side, but the book is really exciting. It's uplifting. It's inspirational, but it's got a lot of action to it as well. And you would put it, as far as the category goes, I think you would put it in the science fiction / supernatural kind of category. It's sort of like a Hunger Games meets The Walking Dead with a little bit of Dune. If anybody remembers Dune.
Yeah. Oh, right on. Well, that's cool, and that's available right on Skillet.com, correct? If anybody wants that.
Yeah, that's still the best place to get it. Now, you can get it on Amazon. You can just look up Skillet Eden.
Yep.
But if you go to the Skillet.com, you'll see all the Eden stuff in there, and you'll see how cool the artwork is. It's really good.
Awesome. And you are a comics guy. I know. I had heard you're a big Todd McFarlane fan, and that's near and dear to my heart. That's who pulled me into that world too back in the day.
Yeah. So it probably was in the '80s, I would assume then.
When he started with Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah, me too. In fact, I have a Todd McFarlane Spider-Man tattoo on my leg from those early, gosh, what would that be, 1985, 86, around that time. The Todd McFarlane Spider-Man in Venom stuff was so good. In fact, one of the biggest fits of jealousy I've ever had in my life is when Korn, remember Korn's album Follow the Leader?
Sure do.
And Todd, when I was like, this artwork looks just like Todd McFarlane, and then I look at it, and somebody's like, it is Todd McFarlane. I was like, how did this band get Todd McFarlane? That was an actual fit of jealousy. But hey, it's Korn. Korn is, in my opinion, I don't know, I do so much press for Korn. They should pay me money. But Korn is literally, I think, the best performing live band in the world, living band in the world in today. I just think they're amazing. So we toured with them a couple of years ago, and you watch them every night, and it's like, that's the baddest band I've ever seen perform.
Yeah, I caught you guys on that tour, actually. That would have been 2017, and that was fantastic. What a night. And that's a bold statement, John. That's a bold statement. Yeah,
I mean, hey, I've toured with lots of great bands, and I'm certainly not trying to diminish anyone else, but, man, they're just good. So if anybody deserves Todd McFarlane to do their artwork, I guess it's them, whatever.
Awesome. Well, hey, hopefully this year and beyond, we're going to get the chance to see anybody and everybody live, because there's so much pent-up demand on both sides of the stage, right?
Oh, man, absolutely.
So that's awesome. Cool. Well, moving on a little bit, talk a little bit about faith in music. I know that's a big part of what you bring in terms of your lyrics and the way that you approach your music. One of the things that I've always really appreciated is that's always there, right? You don't hide any of it, but it's also not right in everybody's face either. So how do you strike that balance, and how do you do that just right?
Sure. Yeah, I think it kind of comes from my greater philosophy / theology, if you want to say it that way, which is just this. Even people who are atheists, friends of mine who are, definitely do not believe in God, most of them all seem to agree that music by nature just has a spiritual quality to it. You don't have to believe in God to recognize there's something supernatural about the way music makes you feel. It makes you feel better when you're in a bad mood. You go to the gym, you turn on Metallica, you're probably going to lift more than you would without Metallica. That's just the way it goes. So there's something inherently spiritual about it. And because of that, I always feel really at ease and at liberty to talk about spirituality in music that is just inherently spiritual. And also we see the power of music just for the fact that people's lives change because of it. And that's true whether it's a Christian band like myself or whether that's a band like Slipknot. We toured with Corey Taylor with Stone Sour, not with Slipknot. But how many people I've seen talk to Corey Taylor about how his music helped change their lives, helped get them off of drug addiction or whatever it may be. Music is just inherently powerful, supernatural, spiritual, whatever you want to call it. So for me, I always feel at liberty to sing about that spirituality and my relationship with God, because to me that's the reason that I exist. The only reason that I have any authority to write a song that could change someone's life is because God infused my music with the power to do so. I mean, that's a pretty deep theological concept, but I think it's one that it's humility. It's humility, understanding our place in this world. So I'm always feel at liberty to do that, but because of my belief in the music itself, I don't think that every song needs to be proselytizing. I don't want people to feel preached at or that I don't like them because they don't believe what I believe, because music should bring people together. And that's why I love Skillet crowds will have very religious people and many times very anti-religious people all coming together for a common purpose of singing Skillet songs. And I think it's kind of beautiful.
Yeah, you know, that's a tough needle to thread, and I really feel you guys have always done a nice job with that. So, you know, to kind of hear it talk through like that is really cool. So I appreciate that.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, hey, you know, I saw, you know, you guys put out a new podcast recently as well, you know, a little bit of the behind the scenes on the road, stuff like that, with the drive-in show. So, you know, people should definitely go and check that out if they want to dig in a little bit more. But you know, obviously the other thing that you did was you had a ton of, you know, downtime at home with the family as well. So what did you guys do? What did you, you know, you talked a little bit about that. Obviously you found some inspiration for new music, but, what else kept you busy over the last year and change?
Well, it was weird not being on the road, that's for sure, because this is this is Skillet's 25th year. It's our 25th year anniversary, and I've spent the first 24 years on the road full time. And not only that, people listening probably know, some may not. My wife Corey is also in the band, so we've been in the band on the road together for 23 years straight, and my kids have grown up on the road. And so all of a sudden we're all off the road for the first time in my kids' entire lives and in me and Corey's entire marriage. So there was a little bit of a, what do we do? How do we live? You know, we go to the grocery store on our own now, and it was interesting. But there were some really good parts about it. You know, I think that if there's anything good to say about COVID, I think a lot of people probably took inventory of their lives. You know, is this the person that I want to be? Am I doing what I want to do? And I think those are important questions. And for me, you know, it was nice to have some normal home time where we would sit and have dinner with the kids. And I mean, we always spend time together on the road, but it was different. It was a forced slowdown, and 99% of all of it I hated, but the 1% that was good was that forced slowdown period and work on your relationships with your family and things like that. So I did quite a bit of that. I'm just a really productive person. I think I read about 100 books last year. I really enjoy reading, and I studied a lot. I took a couple of online college courses,
Nice.
which I know is really silly, but, you know, I always imagine one day I would love to get like an actual philosophy degree. You know, I don't know. It will never happen, but I still took the class.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, geez, it sounds like you had a lot going on, probably more than most people over the last year.
Yeah, I'm a very productive person, and that also kind of goes into my spiritual beliefs as well. But we don't have time to get into that, but that's a part of it for me. Make the most of your time. We're not guaranteed much time in this life, so do what you want to do, be who you want to be, and make the most of it. You know, it's kind of like the Dead Poet Society Carpe Diem thing, you know?
Yeah, right on. Cool. Well, John, you know, a lot of artists, so a lot of people, you know, you talked earlier about, you know, some people were really inspired in the last year, and, you know, others, you know, maybe a little bit less so. You know, there's a lot of new music this last year came out too, and I don't know whether you had it any time with everything else you had going on, but anything come out that really stood out to you?
Oh, you know, I bet that there is. My wife, wish my wife was here, because I would ask her, because she's the one that listens to music during the last year more than me. To tell you the truth, I kind of took a hiatus from listening to any music, which I know sounds really silly, but I was like, hey, if I'm not on the road, maybe I'm just going to take a break from it. I still listen to it in the gym, Metallica and AC/DC, because you can't lift weights without Metallica and AC/DC. It's
That's
actually
right.
it's heresy. but you know, my wife is really into the new Pop Evil, and there's another. I wish she was here. I'm so sorry. I feel
That's all
late.
good.
I don't have the answers, but the truth is that I just kind of decided I would take time off from all things music until until we were going back on the road. So I'm a little out of it.
It's all good. It's all good. But the engines are firing up now. That's for sure.
Yeah, now it's fired up. That is exactly right.
Awesome. Hey, so you know, maybe kind of a rhetorical question, but some of these giant lineups that you guys are going to be on, who are you looking forward to seeing that maybe you haven't shared a stage with before?
Oh man, you mentioned one of the gigs recently. We're playing with Striper and Kicks and Slaughter. And, you know, I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, and I love 80s music. So whenever I work out, I'm pretty much listening to all these bands. And I think that I'm secretly really excited to play with Kicks, because I was a huge Kicks fan, and to tell you the truth, I didn't know a lot of people that were. And so I'm very excited about that. Not that they weren't successful, they just, you know, they weren't as big as Motley Crue and people like that. And I'm a big Kicks fan. We're also playing with Sebastian Bach, and Sebastian Bach is my #1 favorite singer of all time. I wanted to be Sebastian Bach. So that's kind of cool. I enjoy playing with some of those iconic artists, and I like meeting them and telling them how much I love their music. And other than that, I mean, there's so many awesome bands. You know, we are going to be sharing stages with so many great friends. Let's see, Papa Roach. I think Jacoby's the coolest frontman in rock music, and he's a good friend of mine, so I'm excited about seeing Papa Roach again. And Shinedown are also really good friends, and some of the best we've ever been treated on tour was when we opened for Shinedown. I love the band, love the guys, love the songs. Nothing but aces. Shinedown's awesome. So I don't know. That's just a list. I like to brag on people that I like. You might have noticed that, but I like to brag on people that treat you good and who make art, because all you ever hear is negative stuff. So let's share the positive stuff.
Yeah. Hey, man. You know, just like we were talking earlier, right? We're getting another chance at all of this kind of stuff, and you know, it's cool to hear all of that too, and especially, you know, a lot of these tours that you're talking about, having been around with some of these other bands. I've seen a little bit of it. Some of it didn't come near town, so I wasn't able to. But I definitely look forward to seeing as many of you guys, you included, as possible. The intention, of course, would be at Louder Than Life, and hopefully, I'm in Western New York, so hopefully we get to see you out in this neighborhood at some point in the next year or so as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that will happen.
Awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate your time today. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again really soon. I love that things are opening back up, and you found a productive way to stay with it in the last bit here. But definitely cannot wait for some big festivals, to see tens of thousands of people huddled together cheering like we've always done for so long in the past.
Awesome. Oh, yeah. Well, I hope that's the case, and I hope to see you. We can interview in person anyway. We'll figure it out.
Awesome. John, thanks so much for joining the show today. Once again, this is Charlie from Music Connection Magazine with John Cooper from Skillet. Can't wait to see you guys in the fall, and definitely appreciate you having me on the show.
I loved it. It's great to chat with you, too. Thank you so much.
You got it, John. Thanks.